Today we're going to go over the top 5 free-to-play matches that you could probably be bringing out in the open field that is obviously going to maximize your damage, or if you're trying to bring that supportive match as a 5th match, I've got you covered, right? So today is all about open field, PvP, and only free-to-players, right? So let's get into today's video. Hello everyone, yes, smash like, comment, and subscribe for more daily videos with me, MrSneakyy, the one and only, and we're here in the tier list maker because you guys have been actually really enjoying the layout of these videos, especially when we've been able to pop up the hero screens as well to justify some of our, you know, rankings and stuff. And I know some of you obviously get outraged, but it's just my own opinion, right? If you've listened through, you understand why I play certain heroes in certain areas, right? And here we've got the top 5, as you can see, matches, right, listed out with 3 honorable mentions for free-to-players, right? Because the thing is, with free-to-play players, a large majority do not have the heroes that can make the best meta matches, which a lot of people do forget about, right? They think everyone just has every single hero in the game, and that is not the case for a very large majority of players, right? So in the honorable mentions, what we're going to do is actually discuss basically 3 matches that are obviously big matches, right? And I'm going to put the first one, which is a very simple one, and it's going to be just a Syndron and Freygar, right? So this is only an honorable mention, right? Because Syndron is honestly quite hard to obtain for a lot of free-to-play players unless they were lucky enough in the Wheel of Destiny, or if they might have fought really hard potentially and unlocked him for like a Strongest Lord event or a Strongest Lord choice event in the PvP stage, right? There's probably your best chance of unlocking him, right, for free. So if you do have him, and this is the only reason why he's an honorable mention, because I don't think a lot of players as a free-to-play have access to this hero, but they have access to Freygar, I would honestly just say 5-1-1-1 and 5-1-1-1 is an easy behemoth slayer. Like, if you have this match, double, you know, both heroes at 5-1-1-1, you're good as gold, right? That's why it's an honorable mention. You don't need to do too much, and you're just going to basically try to use this in behemoth raids, because it will out DPS anything you have at the current time, right? So the next one I'm going to talk about is easily a cavalry run, right? Because everyone likes to try and play cavalry, and as you've probably been listening in my videos a lot of the time, I don't advise players to play cavalry. Like, I always say don't play cavalry, but I understand some players, you know, for their own choice, their own will, they want to play it, right? And at the moment, for most free-to-play players, the best match you could technically be running is either this setup, or if you've been able to unlock Forendel, you basically sub out one of these heroes of your choice, you know, depending who's better through your gold keys. And that's kind of like a cav match, and some people might enjoy it in their original, like, you know, first season, and then when they get into B1, they'll try it out, and they might think it's okay, but it's not going to be anything special. You'll realize cavalry does get a little bit, unfortunately, like, just slapped about at right now. So if you do need some love and tender care, obviously cavalry. So that's kind of why it's only in the honorable mentions. We don't want to put it in a top 5 slot. And the top of this position is going to be one which will shock everyone, but it is going to kind of appear again, right? And you'll understand why. And I'm going to bring up the hero guide, obviously, for this, so you guys don't just scream at me, because I know what you're like in the comments. It's going to be a Bertrand match, but it's going to be Fear and Bertrand, right? And there's a reason behind this. A lot of players are going to go crazy at me for saying this when it comes into it, but when we are looking at Fear and Bertrand as a combo, right? I've got a 5-1-1-1 Bertrand, like I'm trying to explain to a lot of players, right? So if you've got the same as me as a 5-1-1 Bertrand, when you are trying to find the best, obviously, flying match for yourself, right, you will be surprised that Fear is going to lose out for one reason, right? So if your fear looks a little bit like mine, where it's like 5, 3, 2, 3, and it's kind of got all these stats a bit everywhere, right? Because of the random skill order, because we don't have skill lock, right? If it's like this, I'm going to tell you, it's not as good as you think. Everyone is going to keep raving about this, but it's nowhere near as good as you think, right? The only way this march does become better, and it is like the single target, you know, monster, is when you get a fear at 5, 5, 5, 1 minimal. Legit. Because you're gaining too much stats here. You literally are just gaining just tons of stats, plus tons of stats, plus tons of stats, plus obviously this little 4% attack bonus, but it goes all the way up to 12% attacks. It's again a massive amount of a bonus, right? So if you have a fear at that stage, you can definitely use her over the pairing that I'm going to suggest, but I will obviously talk about that again when we come to it, right? So that's pretty much why she's the honorable mention, right? So that is it, guys. Nice and simple. We're going to go now into easily the top 5, I think, free-to-play marches in the game. And what I'm talking about this is you could be bringing these marches out and you're going to be absolutely cooking, basically, in the open field. There's a few varieties. I might work actually from the top down, because the thing is, with a lot of these, they're pretty close to each other. I'm not going to lie. They will perform pretty close together, apart from the number 1. And I know everyone kind of knows the number 1. That's why I want to get it out the way. It is still, to this day, Wildea Valen. If you're a free-to-play player and you're not using this combo, if you've got a maxed out, you know, Wildea with your like 5-5-1-1 Valen, or even a 5-5-1 Valen, boys, you are missing out, because this thing is a monster in the open field, and you do perform so strong when you put these two together, honestly. And as well, you got to think, over time, when you're using your gold keys, and maybe you might have, you know, like I stated in my old video, you might have invested like 10 heads, right? Really small amount of heads in Valen just to try and get in that awaken, so you've got a really powerful mage hero from, you know, kind of like mid season 2 maybe, or something like that. Who knows, depends on your luck. But as long as you pair these guys up, no matter when, you will awaken Valen, and this becomes a powerhouse of a combo. So this is easily the number 1 combo in the game, and don't really need to like justify this anymore, right? The next one that I'm going to put on is a Archer March, and this Archer March, I'm going to suggest, is really good, again, because you're able to obtain both heroes. They're going to be on the lucky wheel, so you can imagine this combo is going to be your Kanara and Freyga. It is very scary that a lot of free-to-play players and low spenders that have sent me reports, messages, and saying, why don't you talk about this March? Because this March is really good. And I've even tried it out myself recently with the long-range talent, right? Because I am in Season T1. You've got to remember, I am in Season T1. And with that, and you have that long range talent, bro, this March does slap, man. It does so much. You are reducing damage dealt, obviously. You're getting a nice attack increase, obviously, through your Kanara. But then you're getting the steroid of the crit chance through Freyga. And she adds that utility with the rage reduction on the target. So it's a really good PvP combo, honestly, when you put it down for a single target March. So if you're looking for something, this is honestly a really powerful March. Don't sleep on it. I don't know if it's going to be technically ranked number 2. I might change all the ranks at the end, but I'm kind of want to put all of these guys in first. But the next one, which is what I believe the flying choice of the game, and some people will argue, and this is what I was talking about, it is Bertrand and Atheus. I have used this all season compared to Fear, and I've tried Fear numerous times. But it just does not perform the same as Bertrand and Atheus, right? Because this is just double single target damage, and it's just insane when you're putting these guys together, right? Because you got to think, you have a hero in Atheus, which is epic, and you're gaining 800 single target damage, which is going to get a nice little small amplifier from Bertrand. But the beautiful thing about Atheus, which a lot of people sleep on, is the rage generation, which Bertrand doesn't have. He does not have any rage gen, so you really need some sort of rage gen on him apart from his talent tree, right? So it's really good that you're able to get this rage generation A from Atheus, and then on top of this you are getting some decent stats. You're getting 10% HP, which is a very key stat, and you're getting that 15% healing received bonus, which does matter the longer the fights go out, as you are playing Celestials, right? You are normally one of the longest units out. You're poking from far away, using mountains to your advantage. And then on top of this, you gain 20% march speed bonus, and you just take straight up 10% less damage. I don't think people realize that means everything, guys. Less damage is talking about skill damage, normal attack damage, counter attack damage, crit damage, you name it. That's 10% less on all your flying units. So this is why when you have an awakened Atheus, it is outperforming, sadly, the Thea for free-to-play players, right? You got to remember, free-to-players are not T5s. They're not these guys that have got, you know, all the tech maxed out right as of now this video, right? But when I was talking about earlier in the honorable mentions, if your fear has gotten to 5551, I would happily recommend it. I would put fear on with your Bertrand, and you'll probably get the same results, or sometimes you might get better results, right? So that's kind of why I would switch it. And then the more, you know, you finish on working this hero, you will out-trade the Atheus, right? And then you will be very beneficial when you awaken her, because you're gonna buff an additional celestial unit back nearby. Or you might buff, as we were talking about, your main march, which could be Valen, and your Waldia if you keep them together in a murder ball, for example, right? So you could do a lot of stuff with this. But this is why I'm putting Bertrand Atheus in number 3. You guys can hate me as much as you want, but my reports, the way I've been playing, and the way I've been even testing through duels and fighting numerous players throughout the season, this has always been my best. This has always beaten everyone somehow. So it is what it is, right? Number 4, though, I absolutely can't believe I was sleeping, honestly, on this march. And you can do a couple of things with this march too, and it's a very free-to-play friendly combo. And it is going to be Nico and Craig. Because the thing is with Nico and Craig, especially if you are in Season T1, the choke points and having long range as a talent is so powerful with these two heroes. Because you got to think, in the open field right now, it is a very mage-heavy meta, right? We can't deny it, right? It is a mage-heavy meta. And if we go and, like, bring up, you know, Craig's skill, what's so powerful about Craig, which a lot of people have probably been sleeping on for the longest of times, and I've been saying it for the longest of times too, but even to my stubbornness this season, I didn't use it until the very end of the season, where I was like, excuse me, what are these reports? And it is because when you have an awakened, you know, Craig, an awakened Craig is just cracked out, guys. When you awaken this hero, you're dealing 800 damage to a target. Then you're dealing up to 300 damage to 2 near targets. So that's an additional 600 added on. So we're on already 1400 damage from this one hero, right? Then all of those damaged legions gain bleed, which deals 200 damage every second for 3 seconds. So that's an additional 600 damage against all 3 targets. So that is 1800 damage. Plus the other, you know, 1400 damage. It's a lot of damage, boys. And it's area of effect. And the beautiful thing is you are gaining some nice attack bonus on the march. You're getting hero skill damage, which is very powerful. And the thing is you have Nico, right? And Nico, I was finding ways to get this guy back in for players to use, right? And he gives you that defense break, which is nice, and he gives you attack bonuses and obviously the normal attack bonuses and so on. And with the marksman tree, you can honestly, instead of going down the old precision tree for the behemoth build, you can just go down this rage center build. And what you can really do if you put Craig with your actual Nico is take harvest. And this is the key thing of this march. when you're playing it in PvP, because you have so much AoE damage dealing out of this Craig. One of the mages is going to die, guys. And because you're killing these mages with AoE damage, you're gaining so many quick stacks of harvest, and you're going to have that maximum always up. And that is the beautiful thing about this March, right? And the cool thing is, as well, and I don't want to just kind of like knock it dry, maybe you want to experiment. Some people might put it in the comments and stuff, and I did want to try this, and I might try it myself next season and give you guys obviously my feedback. But I really wanted to try Craig with Indis, because that seems like a really interesting combo, right? I get to place Infirm onto the targets, making them take more damage. I have really good HP and counterattack damage reduction, so I'm really tanky. And then I've got this Craig in the back, right? Dealing AoE, and his AoE is dealing even more damage now, which is more important. So I really want to try it out. It might be something really cool, who knows, right? But that's something I'm going to test and give you guys feedback. But the last match I am going to talk about is an Indis match, right? It is going to be Indis in this match. And again, I have tried this and I've actually fallen in love with it. And I hope in the future you can bring something better. And the beautiful thing is Halloween. I actually really like this support match. It is scarily good. And the thing about it is, I ran Halloween as the primary, and the reason why we run Halloween is the primary is because of the talent trees. And I did some really crazy experimentation when he's level 50 in PvP, trying to grind his level up, right? And I fell in love with this talent tree right here. And this talent tree is so good, and it was so surprising on what this was doing for my other marches. And this is kind of why I wanted to put it as the 5th March, and it will always be the 5th March, right? If you want to put Indis on the battlefield, guys, you want to pair her up with someone you've got good and, you know, as your 5th March. It's not your main marches at all. It's there to support all of your other marches. It's helping them get more merits. That's the whole purpose of it, right? And this whole build, and I'm going to make a full video on it, don't you worry, is amazing because you get some really good rage generation, as you guys know. But I've fallen in love with Tremble, Ambush with Reticent. This is like an insane, and Blindside. This is an insane utility combo all on one hero, and any control hero can technically have this combo too. And it's so good because it triggers Backstabber, which is inflicting more damage, just raw damage, right? 2% extra damage for 5 seconds is very powerful when you can trigger it numerous ways all the time, right? So I will make a full video on this build specifically, but this is a very good support match. I'm not gonna deny it at all, right? So those are gonna be my honest to God 5, and there's some other matches you can bring, and these are the other matches that I'm going to talk about, but more oriented to other stuff, right? So a lot of people, for free-to-players as well, you are going to be probably using Eliana and Garwood. This is something you will still be using. I would recommend leveling this up. Why? Because you're going to be merit farming, right? Merit farming is one of the most key things in the game for you to get your skills, get speed ups, just get everything that you need every single week. You need to abuse it, because if you're not, you're just losing out on free stuff, honestly. And it just takes, honestly, an Eliana, Garwood, some friends, go shop alliances, and then at the beginning of the season, farm some merits, get going, right? Buy the store out, get your elixir ready for war. So definitely would always recommend this build, as well as obviously your Madeline. If you've got a decent Madeline Garwood, you can do something like that. And then the only other one, if you are lucky enough, and this is the only reason why I'm kind of talking about if you're lucky enough, right, to unlock it, it's kind of Toha, right? I always want to say, if you do have Toha, I have got him at 5111. I've only used him at the moment in a Roots of War, which isn't really a good way of like fully justifying a hero. So I'm going to wait to do some duels in the new season when we drop. And I'm going to obviously test him in the open field. But I've got a 511 Toha and I've got a 511 Bertrand. And this might be something that'd be really good if he was lucky enough to unlock Toha on the Wheel of Destiny, right? So that's kind of why I'm just going to put Toha there on his own. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. This has been my complete free-to-play, right? So that's why there's no Lilia, there's no Husk in these areas. And I've tried to stay away from the strongest Lord heroes because, again, not every single strongest Lord hero is going to be available to all of the, you know, free-to-play players. And that's why those strongest Lord heroes were in the honorable mentions, right? So if you are looking for a more Splendor or the actual top 5 meta pair engine and the best of the best pairings in the game, don't worry, because that's coming out actually out tomorrow. It's technically online right now, you know. If you are a Sneaky Army member, so you have to obviously pay the $2.99 just to join the Sneaky Army below. If you've done that, you will be having access to that video, right? You're able to watch it. It's been up for a couple of days now, so you guys have had a little bit of a free, you know, view before everyone else. And we do this all the time, right? We always kind of upload videos on there for my members a little bit earlier than the public. So hope you guys have enjoyed it. This has been a really fun blast, and I've been honestly enjoying all the crazy comments and controversy and even people's opinions as well, back and forth in the comment section. It's great to see community members actually just talking and just voicing themselves for once, and it's great. It's actually great. So if you've enjoyed this video and you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. But until the next one, stay safe guys, stay sneaky, peace out.